All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's Ukatsu High School Esports League. This is week 8, and tonight, if you guys didn't already watch that video, which you guys all just did, so I don't know what I'm saying, you guys are going to witness the rematch between Hickman High School and Rockbridge High School. Currently, both teams are tied with a 6-1 record coming into the last round robin of the season. There's 2 weeks left in this 9-week Ukatsu High School Esports League of Legends season. First and foremost, it's incredible what these kids have accomplished. It's incredible what these teams have put together, what these coaches have done, and it's very, very exciting to watch it all accumulate into the end of the season and eventually to the postseason. We got a couple more details now about the postseason. We've talked about it a lot recently, and it's going to be the top 3 A teams and the number 1 B team seed. So actually tonight, also on the line, is going to be Hickman's B squad. They're going to be playing first tonight, and if they win tonight, they will secure their spot in the Ukatsu High School Esports League's playoffs.
That's right. Absolutely. We are tied, ladies and gentlemen. Hickman and Rockbridge are tied in their record. They, tonight, will be playing for the number 1 spot, at least the A teams themselves, to compete in the district championships. That means a really big deal, because if you didn't already know, if you are new to tonight's stream, whether you're watching in-house or online, this is the Ukatsu High School Esports League presented by Columbia College, which means we are a live LAN esports season. 9 competitive weeks. These players have traveled as far away as Jefferson City just to come out here to compete tonight. I'm going to turn down the microphones just a little bit, but here we are tonight competing for the district glory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is so much on the line. Coming to the first round robin in the first 3 weeks, Rockbridge did. They kind of routed Hickman the first time around, and coming to the second round robin, Hickman did the same. So very, very excited to come into these A-team games. On the B-team side, though, right now Hickman's B squad is sitting in first place, in sole possession of first place. They could potentially lose it tonight, though, if they lose both tonight and next week. Battle has the chance to actually knock their way into playoffs as well. So there's a lot on the line in these last 2 weeks. But for the most part, looking at the teams kind of objectively and how well they performed throughout the season, these are arguably 2 of the best squads in this league tonight.
Absolutely,
and
yes.
It's going to be very, very exciting, especially when it comes to drafting as well. Both Ben Bruce, the coach of Hickman High School, and Josh Cobb, the coach of Rockbridge High School, some of the drafts that they put together have just been superb. And you see a lot of the, I guess, kind of the strategic kind of analysis that goes on behind the scenes in the champ selects. We're going to really on stage with these 2 teams.
Yeah, the first thing you notice once these high school students enter the Ukatsu High School Esports League is all solo queue mentality is thrown out the window. You cannot play as if you're the only person on your team anymore. They learned that lesson probably after week 1, after they saw that team compositions really do matter, and that's why coaches Ben Bruce and Josh Bismarck, as you said, Coach Cobb, are focusing in on what works, who has the global pressure, and how can we together come together and win these bottom lane four-man dives that we see that are notorious in the high school esports league, and whoever can capitalize on that, truly, they take away the win most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is very, very true. And it's a very big deal when it comes to these, specifically in these B-team games coming up. We see Alec Alejero James, the mid laner for Hickman High School's B roster, back again tonight. He was not present last week, and we saw an excellent performance coming out of Suho Lee, and it ended up with an 18-1 and 1 fizz. So again,
that was scary.
As a substitute coming in and carrying a game that hard, that really says a lot about the depth of the Hickman High School roster. But Alec is back tonight in his usual position. Ready to also carry his team on his back. Yeah, usually the primary carry for Hickman High School. And he does so by roaming excellently alongside Nathan Nelmore in the jungle. They just put so much pressure on this map, and they really have to direct it on the bot side of the map here, because on their side of the ball, Rockbridge High School, the bot lane with Riley, Olinger, and Dawson, Kroom, they're pretty clean. Dawson is not Dawson. Sorry, Dawson. Riley specifically has carried multiple games in the last couple of weeks with her AD carry ability.
Yeah, her positioning and play has really come together in the past few weeks as she has become the star carry for Rockbridge B team. Typically we see Lee Tolner up in the top lane dominating his early game pressure, but we don't see that translated as well as we had hoped. But luckily in this case, Riley has switched to champions like Jinx, who have been able to win out these team fights. She's been able to position herself very nicely. I also wanted to mention the substitution last week in the support position for Hickman High School. Griffin Pelling, he is also returning this week to the Ukatsu High School eSports League. He had a play that he was running last week. Welcome back, Griffin. Casey did a fantastic job in your place. But we'd love to have you back here tonight with your little Thresh statue over there, over by his computer. I see that. He may be playing that champion tonight. We'll see. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. And currently, right now, both coaches are helping their players get situated. They're sort of planning out their pro drafts, and that's essentially where the teams kind of pick what champions they don't want to play against. It's in the ban phase, and then pick the champions they do want to play. Really the highly strategic point of this game is they're kind of picking what compositions they want to run, and it's really, really a big focal point. In League of Legends specifically, your drafts can really decide how you're going to play your game, how you're potentially going to scale, what your win conditions are, and it's huge. It's really an essential part, and we're so glad actually that these teams have coaches to kind of help them walk them along this path. Very experienced coaches at that, and actually we're actually jumping into game right now. I shouldn't say game. We're jumping into Champion Select. On the left side, again, we have Hickman High School's B roster there, the blue team, the home team for tonight. And on the red side, on the right side of the screen, you guys will see Rockbridge's B roster. They're essentially the away team. First ban coming out, the Darius, taken away from Lee Tolnier in the top lane. Again, the team captain for Rockbridge's B roster. Very exciting to watch him play. Darius, again, one of his most comfortable picks. He's continually had it, though, almost every single week. So, again, kind of like the preemptive approach, taking that away. On the flip side, again, though, love the Zach pick being taken away from Nathan Elmore. He's shown so much, I guess,
yeah, Zach is he's
pick.
The flubber-like champion. He's a green experiment monster that can turn himself and morph himself into different shapes and sizes. He has been a fan, or not a fan favorite, I'd say a team favorite pick in terms of the 140 different characters you can select in this game for the Ukatsu High School Esports League. Reason being, I'd probably say because he's a great team fighter, great team synergy that goes in. We also see a Hecarim band coming out, probably a reflection of the new changes we saw to our jungle. They're saying that Hecarim is a little bit stronger in the league as of patch 8.9, is it? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and same way though, also taking away the Malzahar pick away from Tristan Mini. Again,
very targeted.
Yeah, exactly. One of the few picks he's shown a very much proficiency, I guess, on. He's a recently new mid laner, so the champion pool isn't exactly that deep. So Hickman High School doing a good job having those targeted bans. Also taking away the Zoe though from Alec Elahero, something that they don't want to deal with. Zoe is not a pick that Rockbridge B has had a lot of fun playing against in previous weeks.
That is right. So targeted bans coming in for both mid laners of Hickman and Rockbridge. Ladies and gentlemen, these teams have been competing against each other for about 8 weeks now, so they know the nuances that each team has. Each coach has provided their inside knowledge as to who you should ban so that you can't get, outplayed in the mid lane in this case. Let's talk about the jungle picks. JT Platts, that would be Jordan Taylor. He is elected to go Jax, his bread and butter comfort pick. We know he's been practicing, learning the jungle role on Jax, the character himself. And I think he'll do a pretty decent job with his pressure early in the game.
Yeah, Nathan Elmore on the Sejuani pick. A similar kind of engage kind of champion that he's very comfortable on. He loves being the front line, loves being the one to pull the trigger and engage for his team. A little bit less pressure, though, on the Sejuani pick than he has normally, especially early on. If he gets invaded by this Jax, per se, he's not going to have a fun time as Sejuani, though. The bot lane, though, we're seeing the Caitlyn pick. Yes, not a pick we've actually seen out of Riley too often before. She's played it maybe one other time. Again, with Jinx being up, just a different pick, and they have a different solution here. Maybe they're just responding with the Caitlyn to some of the picks they've seen on the board. An Ashe pick, also a comfortable pick for Thomas Lawless in the AD carry position.
It was either Ashe or Quinn, as if I would have guessed, but. Very comfort pick, very good pick, I would say. If you're very competent in auto attacking and kiting your champions, you do certainly have the edge in these grand team fights, I would say.
And I really like the team on the left side, that being Hickman. They have a lot of CC, a lot of engage, and their team is very much so on the same page. They have a lot of direction with this composition. We have Tim Peters, ADAS pretty good in the top lane on his giant Ornn tank pick. Ornn specifically has a lot of engage with his ultimate, a lot of disengage as well, but a very good frontliner along with the Sejuani pick by Nathan Elmore in the jungle position. They both have really strong ultimates for engaging, and good follow-up also with the Ashe and the Ahri.
Yeah, and while you said you really like the Hickman squad, I actually really like the Rockbridge champion selections that we've got for this game. Reason being is because I think their damage may be a little more consistent throughout these team fights. You see that Hickman is really putting all their chips in the mid laner and the carry. In this case, that'd be Alec and Tom Lawless. If they don't deliver during these team fights, they will have virtually zero damage coming out of the rest of their squad. Meanwhile, for Rockbridge High School, you'd have someone like Cho'Gath who can at least press his ultimate ability, which is going to do a hefty amount of damage. Jax and Karthus, very consistent auto attack or consistent spell dealing champions, even if Riley were to go down. We know she's a little more disciplined than that, so overall, though, it's all about whether or not the early game pressure comes out from Alec, in my opinion.
Yeah. Interesting enough, I'm going to be excited to see what these Caitlyn changes are going to be like as well. On this patch, her headshots will no longer crit, but she will get them a little bit more often, so more of a change there. I like that they took away the Xayah pick in the bans. It's essentially a champion that synergizes very well with the Rakan pick that's being selected by Dawson Kroom. So taking that away, very comfortable bot lane, and now they mix it up a little bit.
And as we enter our spectators delay again, nobody but Riot Studios themselves has the full live tournament realm. So there's about a 3-minute delay on the feed that we're seeing live and on twitch.tv/playukatsu. Let's talk about the history between these two teams, Hickman and Rockbridge tonight. Ben, what happened in the first matches between Hickman and Rockbridge, week 1, I believe.
Yeah, well, even if we go further back, even than week 1, but if we go all the way back to the exhibition season that happened last fall, before this was actually even a season, before high school esports even really existed, Hickman essentially dominated the exhibition season. That was best of 3s between Hickman, Rockbridge, and Battle High School. Battle and Rockbridge, they were pretty close. They actually ended up going to a full 3-game series. But for the Hickman games, they beat both teams pretty convincingly with a 2-0 kind of style. Honestly, they kind of like ran right through everyone in the exhibition season. We'll say though, 3 of those starting members though on that Hickman roster are actually on this B team right now. Those being Nathan Elmore, Alec Alejero, and of course Griffin, Willen, 456, Pelling. Those 3 were actually on the A team roster only a couple months ago.
Yeah, I would say they're arguably one of the most talented B team rosters out there, but again, tonight, we also have one of the most talented B team rosters for Rockbridge High School. We know that their skill gap is probably one of the more closer ones when comparing to rival high schools such as Battle and Jefferson City. I know you and I became temporary coaches for Rockbridge High School when we were still finding a coach to fill their spot. Now Coach Cobb is filling their spot. But back then, when we had gone through the tryout sessions, dividing kids between varsity and junior varsity, that was somewhat of a challenge, or at least something to really consider whether or not you would place one player on A or B squad, because we knew that their scrimmages could be very even. You know, they could learn a lot from each other just by running in-house scrimmages. I don't know if exactly that's what they've done throughout the season, but we're sure to see a fantastic game here tonight from both squads at our Ukatsu headquarters. And again, I'm just super excited. I've been waiting all day for this match between Hickman and Rockbridge.
Yeah, very much so excited. We're only 13 seconds away from jumping into these B team games, and again, whether it goes left or right, honestly, if we're putting our chips on the table, we're definitely going to see these teams in the playoffs, and well, essentially the A teams, and one of these teams potentially also one of these B teams in the playoffs, and it's so exciting. These kids have been very hyped up. It's kind of like you're getting towards the end of the season. You know, hey, we only got how many weeks left? How well do we need to do to be right where we're at? We even heard some coaches kind of talking about, hey, you know, maybe we test out new things so we're better prepared come actual playoffs. And that's super exciting. That's super exciting.
Yeah. So we may see a little more experimentation coming in tonight, or at least play call wise, for both Hickman and Rockbridge High School. Cannot wait to see what exactly happens and what transpires here tonight. Who do you think is a key matchup here?
I think it's really going to be more about I shouldn't say the matchup per se, but it's going to always be about Alejero in the mid lane, especially on this Ari pick, a pick that has so much mobility when he hits level 6. Potentially, the wave clear in the mid lane might be potentially even, so it might stop Alec from roaming. It's what he's done so well before, is he gets a little pressure from his jungle, a little pressure from Nelmore, and then he makes plays all over the map early on as well. And that's really what puts Hickman High School's B roster in such a clean position, and such a great position to be able to just translate that all over the map, and then they kind of just snowball out of control. And it's usually Alec. He's the person we want to highlight when you take into account what the strategy is for Hickman High School's B roster.
And here we are going underway. Game 1, Week 8, I believe. Hickman versus Rockbridge here tonight. We've got parents, teachers, principals in the stand. Let's hear it for both teams tonight, everyone. And as we hope for a fantastic game, both teams are setting up right now, protecting their jungle entrances. As you can see, they've learned a little bit from playing this high school esports season. You don't want to get invaded or cheesed early. And that's what both teams tonight are protecting themselves from. A little bit of a potential ward coming from blue side. That would be Hickman's roster tonight. Very curious to see how Nathan Elmore will utilize Sejuani. Not the strongest pick in the current meta, but still a very comfortable pick for Nathan himself. He's usually very aggressive, very early gank style is what we see as right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they know they're in that jungle. I think Cho'Gath was right there when they saw them enter that tri-bush.
That's right.
A good defensive ward there coming out by Tristan Mini.
Yep, 2 wards popped down from Rockbridge High School. Wards being those little totems that grant vision throughout the map. If you place it down on the map and enemy crosses over it, you know exactly where they are and how aggressive you can be and play around that.
Again, yes, Sejuani, not your usual invader. I wasn't really sure what the plan was there. Actually, she's going to be starting on the top side of the map. And right here on the top side for Hickman High School's B roster, we have Tim Peters. That's pretty good on this Ornn pick, the giant red ram-looking tank. And we've been talking about him a little bit as well. Nathan Elmore, Nelmore on the Sejuani pick, riding the giant Horobora-looking creature with a big flail. Again, Nathan he's performed so very well week in and week out, even with different players coming through this B team roster. He's definitely one of the experienced veterans that some of these newer players like Thomas Lawless you can look up to, at least maybe learn a couple of things throughout the season. And of course, the star himself for this B team roster, we have Alejero James on the Ari pick, the nine-tailed fox. Seen it a couple of times, specifically in a lot of these B team games. We've seen, for instance, I believe Nathaniel Klein, Sir Klein of Battle High School. He performed very, very well on a pick like Ari. More of an assassin, a lot of mobility as well. We also have Tom Lawless, and of course, Griffin, Willen, 456, Pelling in the bot lane on the 2 ice kind of champions, the Ice Queen, bow-wielding Ash, and the giant shield-wielding Braum himself in the bot lane.
And let's introduce the Rockbridge squad here tonight. First up, Lee Tolner, who is about to get ganked right now. Actually, I'm going to pause introductions while we see Nathan going again with his very aggressive early lane ganks. Missed abilities coming from Hickman, though, and it looks like even though he'll take a lot of damage, Lee will get out unkilled in the first 3 minutes of the match.
Yeah, it was a good sidestep there by Nelmore. Not getting knocked up by the Q from the Cho'Gath. Able to get more successful gank off, but no summoners were burned. So.
Right, so let me continue introducing our Rockbridge squad. Again, Lee Tolner is the team captain for Rockbridge B team. He's been a rock-solid player, hardly losing any top lane matches this entire season. We'd love to see what kind of advantage he can push tonight and hopefully translate to the other lanes. That's the key difference we see from most of the standout top laners in this league, and we hope he can do that tonight. In the jungle, we have Jordan Taylor, JT, playing the character of Jax, his favorite champion in terms of learning the jungle position. He is a brand new jungler, by the way, since this season started in March. Before, he was actually a support main, but has adapted very well to his role, learning the gank paths, clear paths, and efficient jungle routes, as he also looks towards top lane, hoping to find something. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, we have Tristan Reed, a.k.a. Mini, playing Karthus, the Grim Reaper-like character. In this game tonight. He will be doing a lot of damage across the board, especially with his ultimate ability that can pretty much, it could one-shot somebody if he does get big enough later in the game. Finally, rounding up the bottom lane, while Griffin does a little bit of chip damage. Rounding out in the bottom lane, we have Riley Olinger and Dawson Kroom, both playing pretty aggressive early game champions. Here tonight, I'm very curious to see what kind of aggression they will show early, and whether or not Nathan Nelmore will take advantage of the early push from these two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far, not a lot of action going on in this game, real even across the board. You see a slight CS lead in the bottom lane. You see his numbers right here. Those being minion kills, they grant bonus gold. We see 10 CS in favor, actually, of Thomas Lawless. Again, a newer AD carry. Very much more... very surprising, for the most part, than being, I guess, a newer AD carry in that position. He actually wasn't a marksman at the beginning of this league, and here he is actually out farming the more experienced Riley.
Right, that's one of the things you have to learn as a high school esports competitor, is that you may not get your preferred lane, so you will have to adapt if you want to continue playing on the league. Right now we're seeing a huge invade coming from Nathan Elmore, being very assertive in the jungle role, even as Sejuani, a very tanky champion. And while all three players, or at least the bot lane as well as Jordan, hover around their Gromp objective, nothing too exciting going on as junglers continue their clear paths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something pretty scary about this bot lane with the CC that comes out from all of them. I think the Ashe and the Braum. CC also being crowd control. I think your slows, your stuns, that kind of suppressive kind of abilities. Both those laners in the bottom lane, the Ashe and the Braum, have a slowing effect on all of their abilities. Not a lot of fun if you get caught out, especially when they hit level 6. They'll have a lot of engage. That's a bot lane that Riley and Dosterman might have a little bit of trouble with when they start getting those levels. They're currently being pushed into tower. Good opportunity for JT potentially find a gank, but he's currently in his own base.
More one-on-one skirmishes up in the top lane, both playing very tanky champions, probably unlikely to secure a solo win kill unless we see a gank coming from one of the junglers here. But it's going to take a lot to down any one of those champions, be it Ornn, the Ram God, or Cho'Gath, the alien who consumes everything in his path.
Huge knockup coming out by Tim Peters. ADAS pretty good in the bot lane. That's where the real action is happening. The engage coming out of the Rakan and the Caitlyn. We see the net headshot going on, but not a lot of damage. Ended up being a pretty even trade. JT, though, is in the area on the bot side of the map.
Does get spotted out from the bottom lane ward from Hickman High School, so he will not be able to gank. Continues on to his blue buff. Meanwhile, for Hickman's roster, they are giving blue buff to Alec Alejero in the middle lane. With that blue buff gained, he will gain extra mana regen to continue his push against Karthus.
And cooldown reduction. Yeah,
and cooldown reduction, yes.
Yeah, he needs that to stop this Karthus pick from pushing him in. A very good, kind of a good pickup.
It's a fantastic pick.
I see that gank coming out of Nelmore, forcing the flash out of Tristan Mini. He gets out with his life.
Pretty good reaction time from Tristan Mini.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of like this Karthus pick. I think that's why he opts to be on the Malzahar so often. Has a lot of wave clear. He can push pretty effectively, and it's this wave clear that's keeping Alec in check. It's keeping Alejero pushed into his tower, not allowing him to roam. We haven't seen him come out of this lane once yet.
Now we should talk about the experience difference between the two players in the middle lane. Tristan is actually a fairly new player to League of Legends. Meanwhile, Alec has been playing for a couple of years at this point. He's holding up very well in the CS differentials. Those are the numbers you see at the bottom of the screen, 61 to 57. That means every last hit that you just saw right there happening from Lee Tolner, and again right there, grants you extra gold. The more gold you have, the more powerful items you can purchase to fight the enemy team. So you want to be able to last hit those minions as effectively as possible and as efficiently as possible.
In a much slower start this game. I think that's probably one of the most interesting parts of tonight specifically is there's no action going on. For both of these teams, it's very, very common to see them kind of snowballing, for instance. They find a lot of kills early on, and they translate that all over the map. And tonight, very much so, I say more of a reserved kind of play style, if anything. And we're not seeing crazy invades. We're not seeing crazy roams coming out of Hickman High School. Not seeing Nelmore, Alec, 2-man, 4-man bots, that kind of situation. And potentially it might be bit of a maybe nerves potentially. I mean, for Hickman High School's B roster, if they win this game, they will secure their spot in the playoffs in the postseason as a B team. If they lose tonight, Battle is put in a position where they can potentially find a spot. I guess, and also in the playoffs. So for Hickman, there's a lot on the line here. For Rockbridge B, they're kind of just playing to get more experience, potentially get more experience.
Well, we know with only a couple weeks remaining in the high school esports league, neither team wants to drop a game. That's why we don't see as much action, as much early game kills going on in the first 10 minutes of this match as we approach 10 minutes right here. And this is actually reflective of what you would see in the professional scene, too. They aren't just chasing kills. They're farming up their CS as effectively as possible, finding opportunities where they will successfully gank, and capitalizing on that. You won't, sometimes in a professional game, you won't see a single kill until the 22, 23-minute mark, probably unlikely for our high school esports. But again, both teams playing very cautiously. They don't want to give anything away. They don't want to make too many mistakes. And low kills are just a reflection of very well-executed plays.
How much these teams have grown in the last couple of weeks. Not
Here
as
comes
many clown
Nathan
fiestas, that's for
coming
sure.
in from
and it's
the
from his own jungle.
jungle. About to jump in on Jordan JT. Pings are starting to come out as we approach our first team fight of the match. Dawson does end up knocking up the enemy Ash on the team fight, but here comes a teleport coming in. Dawson does get killed. Despite the teleport coming in, Alec does not manage to pick up an assist for that, but just as a precautionary measure.
Burns his flash as well, trying to find a pick on the Caitlyn there. Doesn't secure it. There's one of the classic Hickman 4-man bots. Actually, the fourth man wasn't even needed. A very interesting fight there, actually. Multiple ultimates thrown out. We see Dawson throwing his body to kind of save his jungler and his AD carry. Ultimate comes out, roots everyone in place. But like I said before, the ultimates that come out of Thomas Lawless and Griffin from the Ashe and the Braum, they just have so much engaged potential. The giant crystal arrow that comes out from this character, Ashe, it basically stuns a person in place when she throws it forward. And then the huge knockup from the Braum ult as well, the giant fissure that comes out of the ground. They had no way to escape, and just enough damage to secure the kill onto Dawson.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a theme going on for Hickman's squad with Sejuani, Ashe, and Braum, all ice-based champions. Ice.
Oh, we actually just caught it, though. Solo kill in the top lane. Lee Tolnir on the Cho'Gath uses his ultimate, gets a chomp, and takes down Tim Peters. ADAS pretty good for a solo kill in the top lane.
As well as a large lead in CS now. This is exactly what we were talking about. Lee Tolner traditionally wins or doesn't drop a single one of his lane matchups. But the key is, can Lee translate his lead to the other lanes? We want to see him pulling off some miracle teleports. He's got teleport advantage right now as soon as he backs after clearing this one wave. So in the next few minutes, we hope to see something from Lee Tolner up in the top lane. Hopefully he can capitalize on something like an opportunity right now as the bottom lane goes in for another skirmish. We've got stuns coming out from multiple characters. Ultimate dropping in, but it is body blocked from Griffin Pelling. Fantastic body block, but the ultimate from Tristan does clean up that final kill. Charm, beautiful charm coming in from Alec, though, to sweep up any remaining bits. That would actually be Jordan JT. So equal 1-for-1 trade, multiple ultimates coming down on the lanes as we maybe see another top lane gank pretty soon.
Oh, so much damage coming out of Alec there. Riley having to back off. We'll say Mini's a little bit late to the party here. Didn't even quite push his lane all the way into tower. He's just not able to keep Alec in check. He's just got so much pressure. If Alec wasn't able to make that roam to the bot lane, that would have just been a positive win for the bot lane of Rockbridge High School. We saw the ultimate coming out of Tristan, picks up the kill on the AD carry. But that's about all they get, because then Alec gets down there and also finds a kill onto JT.
So the right idea coming out from Rockbridge High School, but with Alec in the mid lane, able to roam all the way from the middle lane down to the bottom lane, they even that up really nicely, and they just make a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, currently gold is still really, really even between these two squads. Only about 1,000 in favor of Hickman High School. Some of that attributed to the first blood, which does grant bonus gold, and some of the CS differential when you look at the AD carry in the mid lane position. But we pointed out before, though, that the farm lead is in favor of Lee Tolnir. Frozen Maelstrom in the top lane. He's actually getting ganked right now, though. Nathan Elmore with a Sejuani pick lands the root. Ultimate coming out of Tim Peters, knocks up the Cho'Gath. He's getting stunned. He also does have flash though, so he might be able to get out of here. But just to make sure he doesn't, Nathan Elmore hits him with the ultimate. Great CC chain coming out from both the top laner and the jungler for Hickman High School, and they pick up a kill on Lee Tolnir. Is JT going to be able to respond quick enough though? He's forfeiting his red buff here, or at least not continuing to farm it to try to defend this tower.
Most likely stepping up just to defend the top lane turret, not wanting to give away first blood turret. And we've got two big tanky top laners and junglers for Hickman High School, and together they beautifully stacked the crowd control effects. You saw one stun after one knock-up, after one stun again,
and we actually
after
just
one
missed
ultimate.
Alec Alejero picking up a solo kill onto Tristan under his own tower. The mobility coming out of this Ahri pick is so very strong. He doesn't even have an defensive summoner spell. He has a teleport, but still able to pick up solo kills in the middle lane.
So just wanted to add to the crowd control, the CC effects from Hickman High School. They've got so much opportunity to pick and to lock down any champion, like you just saw happen to Lee Tolner up in the top lane. They can lock him down, make him not dash out, use any abilities. They can pretty much pick any team member they want. Nathan's still going very aggressive into his enemy jungler.
Able to find a way out, though, with that blast cone. And they're not even really... I mean, I should go take a step back here for a second and actually really highlight here that Hickman High School's composition is going to be really strong in team fights. We see the engage, we see the CC potential, we see the chains coming out from these picks together, and they're doing a great job finding picks across the map. And when they get to the point where they're all grouping, it's going to be really up to Rockbridge to have the vision to make sure they don't get picked out in kind of a death push situation or in a location where they don't have vision, or even in a team fight situation in the middle of the lane from any of these ultimates that come flying out. So for Rockbridge, I'd say they almost need to opt for maybe a split push composition, separate their members and find pressure on the map together without getting picked off. Because in a team fight situation, I'd honestly say right now, Hickman will have the advantage with this gold going on to Alec, with the bot lane being in a pretty even situation, kind of ahead actually in farm. The team fighting will probably be in favor of Hickman.
Yes, especially at this point, every single member, excluding top lane, has a lead in creep score. Again, those numbers you see at the bottom of the screen. We hear large amounts of callouts coming from both team members. That means they're still very invested into this game. And if you didn't already know, League of Legends is one of the most cooperative esports titles out there in the nation right now. Requires a lot of heavy macro and micro callouts. Which is why you're hearing players shouting at each other, shouting names, shouting targets. I see him, I see him. And people would be repeating themselves over and over just to get their point across. And you're right. You're absolutely right. At this point, it might be up to Rockbridge to play a split push composition, utilizing Jordan's pick as Jax with his very effective split push if he elects to go with the Tiamat or a...
And like we said right here, Rockbridge did not have vision of that bush right there. If you look at what their vision looked like, they did not even know Alec was there. And that's what's going to happen, though, if they don't have that vision control. There's so much CC coming out of the Hickman High School roster that they're just going to get picked off time and time again. Actually, we might be seeing an engage here, potentially a four-man dive coming out. The ultimate coming out of Dawson Kroom, seeing all of Hickman High School, but the return ultimate coming out from Nelmore locks down JT. He goes down. The bot lane of Rockbridge High School retreating back to their tower.
And Hickman's playing their composition very effectively. Alec able to land charms across the map, picking apart the enemy AD carry as they now pick up the first Drake of the match. That would be Ocean Drake, granting them extra health and mana regen while out of combat. Those big objectives do add up, especially when it comes to the later points in the match.
I think what you said earlier was a very, very important thing to highlight, is the fact that so many calls are being made from all five of these members on a team. It's kind of a lot to take in. You're sitting there and five people are giving you information sometimes. It's important to have maybe a leader or a shot caller per se to help kind of facilitate what players need to do. And it's very different from traditional sports in the sense that there's not really, you don't have a coach there to tell you what to do. There's no time off, and you're constantly playing this game and constantly inputting information. And it can be kind of stressful for some players, specifically in the pros. There's a lot going on in this game, a lot to think about.
Yeah, I can't think of any other traditional sport that has all players in communications and headsets with each other. all spitting out their own concerns, their own shot calls. And again, as you see in professional esports, you typically would have one macro and micro shot caller able to identify who needs to go down first, who to target first, and who to protect first, as well as what objectives to claim after either winning or losing a trade.
Yeah, right now at this point in the game, we're almost entering the 20-minute mark. A 4-kill lead in favor of Hickman High School. I'll play about 4,000 gold, 1 dragon. No turrets yet are taken off the board yet, so not a lot of objective control going on between these two teams, except for the dragon. They're fighting a lot of picks, but these teams have to turn these into towers.
JT.
Oh, not quite getting the knockup. Frozen Maelstrom, but the teleport coming out from Alec Alejero. Are they going to get out in time? Nelmore's also in the top side of the map, though. Good flash coming out of JT. So much damage coming out. The ultimate coming out from the Sejuani on top of the Ornn ultimate will knock up both members. And that's a double kill for Hickman High School.
And with Hickman's principal and club sponsor and former coach out here, they are ready to bring all the school spirit. Fantastic cheers coming out of the left side for Hickman High School. What's happening is, as you can see in this replay, brought to you by Veterans United, despite the initial stun coming out from Jordan, Hickman is able to respond really quickly. Very unfortunate missed knockup right there, but you see a teleport coming in for support of Tim Peters, and also Nathan is roaming through the tri-bush right now. They do the same thing. They stack those CC chains. As you see, one ultimate after another, knockups, stuns, charms, all able to secure the kill. Very beautifully juggling the turret aggro as well to the tanky champions, so they won't die to any damage coming
and the
from
most
it.
interesting part about that actually was Tristan Mini Reed actually had his teleport up as well. And that's kind of the difference between these two rosters, and maybe the difference even in experience from these mid laners is their ability to just respond to these issues right away. Tim Peters was in trouble, but instantly Alec Alejero channels his teleport, gets to the top lane with the roam coming up from Nelmore, and they turn it into a 3v2 situation. Mini was able to channel his teleport at the same time. Maybe it wasn't communicated properly, but it could have at least been a 3v3 situation. And we're seeing multiple members, almost 4 members of Hickman High School in the top side of the map. Alec will not have teleport for this fight in the top lane. Looks like they're zoned out, though. Currently, Rockbridge is separated on 2 different sides of the second-tier tower, but the bot lane for Rockbridge is also rotating up.
And with Hickman High School now, setting foot for their lead, they now pressure all lanes and claim the first mid lane turret. Very big objective as it opens up the map very widely for Hickman, able to now invade the jungle, clear out any wards that they may have placed, and also do any surprise death bushes, which I'm sure we're going to see with this very CC
Look at all
heavy.
this. Right now, Rockbridge does have vision inside of their own jungle, so they know what's going on. And they do have the wave clear, too, to stall out this game. That was just kind of a poor rotation by Rockbridge High School, not really understanding or not really realizing what the situation was like with Alec in the mid lane, not finding a pick in the top side of the map either. Also
and just like that,
Alec picking up a turret in the bot side as well.
Rockbridge maybe wasting a little bit of time kind of dancing around top lane, shifting around to mid lane. Meanwhile, Alec just takes mid and then takes bottom at the same time. We are seeing an attempted engage coming out here, probably in response of Alec not having teleport. Lots of ultimates coming down. Dawson able to land a few charms. Now on to the peeling process for Riley as she pecks away at Nathan. Frozen Maelstrom does land a consume on the enemy the enemy 80 carry. And team fight continues on, now 4 versus 2. Alec does take his second turret in the bottom lane. We're going to see if this is all going to pay off in the end.
Yeah, split push Ari on the other side of the map. Like you were saying before, Rockbridge will pick up 3 kills for their 1, but Alec knocking down on the doors of these towers. He takes down the second-tier bot tower, takes down half damage, actually, on the inhibitor tower.
And I would say if it were not for the 3 kills to none, it almost probably would have been a very bad trade for Rockbridge High School.
And this all started actually with the engage coming out from JT. Tries to find a pick onto Nathan Elmore. Now everyone's separated here. The tank for Hickman High School at this point in the game flashes over the wall. technically, Tim Peters isn't even here. So the 80 carry for Hickman does go down. He gets chomped up on, but the rest of Rockbridge is able to respond. We see Tim Peters actually sacrificing his life to save his support. So much CC's going on, but as you can also see on the bot side of the map, Alex just pushing down. So honestly, pretty good situation for Hickman High School. Rockbridge wasn't able to get any actual objectives off of those 3 kills.
Next dragon does spawn right now, and it is an Infernal Drake. Again, if you were to destroy or eliminate this Drake, you would get a permanent attack and ability damage buff all across your teammates. Very critical objective that I'm sure both teams will be angling for. Alec managed to land a charm and goes all the way in with his ultimate ability, trying to chase down Riley, but she does find her way out of that initiation. JT Platts, very low, will probably have to go back before engaging any more in the next team fight.
Looks like it's going to be a free dragon, actually, for Hickman. This one being the Infernal Drake, arguably one of the most important Drakes. Does grant scaling damage.
Go ahead.
It does also grant scaling damage for their entire team. Very important Drake, very important neutral objective to contest. Potentially, top lane, Lee Tolnier might be caught out here in the bot side. They're not actually opting to rotate for him, instead going for the second tier mid tower.
And I love the priority coming from Hickman High School. They are focused on the towers in this game, as well as the dragon objectives. I'm sure they'll be focusing on Baron when it's the right time. But again, taking these objectives and turrets leading up to the Nexus is ultimately how you win this game, not kills. So they're choosing their fights very wisely and rotating very professionally in this case, which is probably what makes them so good in the high school esports league.
JT caught out a little bit there, forced to flash over the wall. He doesn't have anywhere to run to right now. 4 members of Hickman.
Potentially bringing the fight to Lee Tolner as well.
Ooh, able to jump to a ward. The ultimate from the Sejuani does not land, but Alec still finding the pick. Excellent Spirit Rush outside of the stun from Jax. And now Lee Tolner, you're right, is the one in trouble. On the wrong side of enemy lanes per se, but he's actually going to zip right out. Regroups with 3 other members of his team.
And Alec Alejero, arguably one of the star players for Hickman B Squad, with 5 kills, 0 deaths, and 2 assists, completely blows up the enemy jungler, opening up more objectives right now. We're going to see maybe a rotation to Baron, or at least an aggressive push down the middle and top side.
Yeah, these mid laners from Hickman High School last week, the 18-1-1 performance from Suho Lee, and this time Alec back again.
Saying, I'm just as capable of carrying this team.
Yeah,
Lots of mid-lane talent and more coming next year. We've got a few middle school Ukatsu students who are nothing to sneeze at. I'm very excited to see what those tryouts are going to look like.
I'm very excited indeed. Potentially some more Yasuo potentially on the board here. Shout out to Dramatic
Talia.
Saber.
Very good. Katarina, who?
And that's probably the most cool. That's probably the coolest part about this, though, is the depth of some of these rosters. Unfortunately, some teams do not have as many players a part of their esports clubs, but Hickman and Rockbridge do have the liberty of having multiple subs able to fill in. Luckily enough for Hickman, though, they will not have any seniors, actually, or except for one. Griffin will be a senior. He will be leaving next year, but for the most part, they're not going to be losing too many players. Whereas Rockbridge, they're actually going to be losing 2 of their starting members and 1 of their B team roster as well.
So they are doing, making their preparations now to foster up their next varsity members, as well as those who aren't currently playing on any teams. Now that they know about the league and how real it is, there's a lot of interest coming from both non-players and players alike for next year's tryouts.
Now, at this point in the game, I don't know really why this game is stalling up for so long. I will say that's what they need to do. If they need to throw out an arrow, they need to find that engage. That one was not the engage they wanted to find, though. Knockup coming out from the Cho'Gath. Huge disengage, though, coming out from the Braum. Riley's doing her best to be on the outside of the fight, throwing out as many shots as she can. Unfortunately, she throws out a Q. It ends up keeping her in place, and she gets locked up by Nelmore's ultimate and just gets bursted down. Now Dawson Kroom, Dasso on the wrong side of this fight, getting caught up by the jungler and the mid laner for Hickman High School. That's 2 kills, 3 kills. No, that's just 2 kills, just 2 kills. Going over in favor of Hickman High School. With that, they're going to take down this tower. And just before that went down, actually, I was going to say, when they stall out this game, Tristan's going to get really, really strong. And they have all the tools in their inventory in Hickman High School's composition to just fight whenever they want to. They can throw out that arrow, they can throw out the ultimate from the Sejuani and just say, hey, I want to fight now. And I was kind of confused why they were taking so long to make that decision, but it worked out in the end, even though they missed the arrow. JT does escape with his life there, using his flash, or actually just jump, no flash. Barely escaping, which is a sliver of health.
And while we do, obviously, there is a very large lead going for Hickman's side right now, but the potential for the late game comeback is very real with the Cho'Gath and Jax picks, as you mentioned Karthus not too long ago. We're taking a look at an instant replay brought to you by Veterans United.
And I'd say it was a great job by Rockbridge to understand the arrow miss. That was our chance to go in. We see the knock-up coming out from Lee Tolnier and the ultimate coming out from Dawson Kroom. But the team just gets split a little bit there. And it's unfortunate by Riley there to make that decision to use her Q right there. It roots her in place as she's throwing out a skill shot, and she's able to get picked off by the jungle and the mid laner. Dawson then also on the wrong side of the fight. And just maybe a little miscoordination going on by Rockbridge. Not quite there to protect their AD carry. And some different, kinds of difficult decisions to make in that split-second play, but in the end, the favor does go over to Hickman High School.
Right. Typically in these team fights, the name of the game is protect your carries. This would be Riley in this instance, who's currently 2-1-2. So very, still very big threat for the enemy Hickman team. Perhaps next team fight it'd be better if Dawson were to provide more of a supportive role for his carry in this instance.
Yeah, it was a great engage. Once he throws out his ultimate and his knockout, he doesn't have any tools left. He should really just be focusing on protecting his marksman. But it's still not quite over yet. We're entering the 30-minute mark. Our players are going to start getting their third, maybe fourth item at this point in the game. The gold lead is almost 10,000 gold in favor of Hickman High School. No towers taken off the board yet for Rockbridge, but they're doing their best to stall it out. You see Hickman High School now securing vision around the Baron objective. The giant purple monster in the top side of the pit. When taken, it will grant a huge buff to minions, making them a lot stronger, making it easier to push down multiple lanes, as well as giving a little bit of bonus to your attack damage and ability power. So, it's a very important objective you want to take if you're trying to close out a game. Right now they've secured all the vision, taken away, denying the vision, I guess, from Rockbridge. You see on this side, they can't see anything over here. They do still have a ward in the back of the pit, but they do not know where Hickman's players are currently at.
Waiting around in one of the river bushes is Hickman High School as Rockbridge tries to find something, some sort of play to make against Tim Peters, but here we go. Here comes the engages. Frozen Maelstrom does get kited out of the situation, but Riley does pick off the 80 carry
She's in the back
for
line.
the team. Very well positioned in this team fight. Now a 3 versus 5. Charms do land and a lot of damage, but no kill coming from Alec. With 5 members alive for Rockbridge High School, we're going to see if they make a play for Baron or another objective, possibly the Infernal Drake, which is a little easier to secure.
Oh, these banner-empowered minions. You see the minion with the big shield there. It actually negates most magic damage, so Cho'Gath is having a difficult time taking him down with his abilities. But excellent positioning. We'll go back and visit that replay in a second. Excellent positioning by the 80 carry of Rockbridge. A little bit unfortunate. It looked like they found a pick there. I thought Hickman might have found a great little pincher hold there, but the engage by Dawson knocks him up. We'll go revisit it right now. That was good team fighting by Rockbridge. It's like you said before, there's a huge potential in this game from I guess the pick that they have. They have a lot more damage, a lot more consistent damage that they all can deal. A very unfortunate place for Tom Lawless to be. He's caught in between a rock and a hard place with the Jax jumping on top of him, Riley finding a kill. And with no one now any threat to the backline of Rockbridge, Riley's perfectly positioned behind her front line. They're able to walk forward. Dawson does take a lot of damage. No engage, though, left from Hickman after Dawson throws out his abilities, so we kind of have to back off there, but there were multiple kills over to Rockbridge for free. That's only a 4-kill gap in favor of Hickman.
Hickman does secure their 3rd Drake of the match. This time it is another Infernal Drake, meaning they do that much more damage in these upcoming team fights. One thing I wanted to recognize is Tim Peters did unfortunately miss his ultimate ability. Could have potentially knocked up 4 members of Rockbridge High School for a counter engage, but did not land that. He is now in the top lane with teleport still up as a summoner spell. He will be split pushing, something that actually Rockbridge would like to do, but is not executing on that right now.
And back to the siege game here. Again, Hickman High School doesn't really have a great split-pushing roster. Again, all their damage will come from Alec and Tom Lawless. They just need to keep those members alive. But with the wave clear coming out from Rockbridge, they're having a difficult time finding a way to kind of initiate these fights safely. Rockbridge doing a great job not rolling out too far outside of their base. Don't want to risk getting picked off. It's going to be fights, situations like right now that will really decide if Rockbridge is going to have a place in the late game portion of this game. If they can defend multiple waves off, maybe get a little bit of poke coming out. If Hickman's unable to find a pick or a fight, that's good news for Rockbridge.
Tristan Reed pinging multiple times against this empowered cannon minion, asking for some help, and a huge charm coming out from Alec, picking the enemy AD carry, Riley, the very critical member of the Rockbridge team. Re-engages coming out for a double kill, and we see ultimates stacking on top of ultimates as every single member of Rockbridge slowly goes down. Flash forward from Nathan Elmore as he tries to pick up the kill on the enemy jungler, rotates back as they get a free middle inhibitor turret, as well as the inhibitor itself spawning now super minions down the mid lane, potentially rolling backwards to attack this Baron objective.
Mm-hmm. And, oof. Talk about the picks that Hickman High School could throw out there. The mid laner throwing his body right into the enemy AD carry. Finds the great pick onto Riley. Very unfortunate for her. She instantly goes down. So far, good job, though, by her. Only has 2 deaths. Very unfortunate. But with that pick, though, they feel comfortable able to engage. One of the primary damage dealers for Rockbridge.
Yeah, it was easy pickings for Alec James as you see that ward right over by the base of Rockbridge High School. That blue ward you see up there, very easy to spot any enemies roaming around. Makes it an easy, again, pick for Alec just to take. That's why vision is so important in these matchups, to clear your own jungle, and as well as placing wards to look out for enemies' disadvantages.
Yeah, that is correct. And with that, Hickman High School do secure the Baron, finally secure the Baron. I should say they positioned very well around the outside before, denied the vision. With that pickup, hopefully they might break into another side of the base of Rockbridge, either the top or the bot side, or potentially they might just opt to run down the mid lane, that as well. Team fighting-wise, they're very, very strong. 8-0-4 for Alec Alejero James, 5-1-5 for Nathan Elmore. Very strong mid-jungle duo. And great support system by the top jungle and support. Again, Ashe is traditionally more of a utility AD carry with their ultimate, able to kind of just throw it out there and dictate when they want to fight, who they want to pick off. And so even though they aren't as strong as Alec and Nathan, they offer so much to their team with their abilities and that utility.
Yeah,
great draft.
Tom being one of the newer players to League of Legends in general, I think Ashe is a fantastic pick. You've got so much utility with your slows and stuns, and also vision with your E ability, that it's very easy to contribute to the team. And even if you're not always auto-attacking or dealing damage, you can provide that much more pressure onto the map just by holding your ultimate and being that threat.
Yep. We see Frozen Maelstrom, Lee Tolner here, very, very large on this Cho'Gath pick. He's starting to get real tanky. And especially with him being that strong, he might be able to get to the back line and just chomp down on a carry for Hickman. Oh, the engage coming out from Dawson Kroom. Ultimate coming out from both the Braum and the top lane position of Hickman High School. Unfortunately, Mini, though, is in the back line. He's got his W active. He's not able to deal any damage, though, unless he's standing on top of the Hickman roster. Rockbridge is a little bit too low, only losing 1 member, 2 members now at the top, and the support going down. Hickman High School now taking down the top tower. Very unfortunate positioning by some of the players on Rockbridge, not able to deal the damage that they needed to kind of take that fight, even though Dawson was the one that found the engage. And they're now knocking on the Nexus towers.
With 2 enemies from Rockbridge down, as well as the empowered Baron buff, looks like they will take down both Nexus turrets and potentially the Nexus in the next couple seconds to clinch the game. They exactly do just that. Congratulations, Hickman B team. Now ending a 7-1 record for their season. Very impressive rotations coming out from their school.
Yeah, B team roster like on point. 3 of those members they used to be 18 players, and that's why it's very exciting. We're going to jump in this 18 game and watch some of the players that have replaced them. We have heard before, though, by Coach Ben Bruce that these players are very interchangeable in terms of what their skill gaps actually are. So it's very exciting to see very proficient A and B team rosters. And though we're going to jump away, though, for a couple of minutes here and set up the stage for the 18 players. So don't click away from your browsers. We'll be right back to watch the Providence match between Rockbridge High School and Hickman High School, the rematch, the tiebreaker. And it's going to be so very exciting. So don't click away. We're going to be right back.
For Game 2 in our matchup tonight between Rockbridge High School and Hickman High School. This is the headliner match. This is the one we've all been waiting for, to see who will rank number 1 in the Ukatsu High School eSports League presented by Columbia College, as well as our other sponsors, Armstrong Teasdale, Columbia Public Schools, Veterans United, and Hawthorne Bank. How are you feeling about this one, Ben?
Again, very excited for both ends of the games. When Rockbridge took the first game off of Hickman, when Hickman took the first game off of Rockbridge, both games were stomps. In either direction, it was very clear who the victor was. And so tonight, it's going to be, I guess, kind of the deciding factor. We've actually heard some different strategies coming out from the coaches tonight. I'm pretty sure, are the pro drafts complete? Not quite sure, actually. Don't want to give away anything yet if they haven't selected their champions yet.
Yes, but we know Rockbridge has been preparing endlessly for this match. They've been evaluating their champ selections up and down throughout the entire week. Same thing goes for Hickman High School, although they do have a little more confidence coming into this match, I would say, especially after the second time these two teams faced off against each other. Again, as you saw in that promotional highlight clip earlier, top laner Michael Zhao, he 3 versus 1. It was a quadra-kill, actually. It was a late quadra-kill on Fiora, the very scaling solo carry type of champion that I think Michael does truly belong on to be the biggest threat anyway. So with their backs against the wall, Rockbridge High School, they're trying to go all out this time to see what they can do.
And there's not a whole lot to say here, because I'm hoping it's as competitive as can be. These two teams are at the top of their game. They look so very strong when they're playing against some of the other schools in this league. And some of it goes back to experience. Some of it goes just into how long these players have played together, how long they played this game. And they look very coordinated. Coordinated to the point where I'd say that they do a pretty good job against maybe some higher elo players, especially as a group. You definitely can tell that this isn't a solo queue group of kids, but they're actually a group of people that strategize and play together and understand how this game works dynamically as a 5-man roster.
And, of course, this is only possible because, I would say, of their coaches, both Coach Cobb and Coach Bruce here tonight. Coach Cobb is actually a diamond-level player himself, able to teach the macro plays that both Hickman and Rockbridge need to learn to truly succeed against any of the other put-together, pre-made teams. So I was hearing him earlier today talking about how we cannot let Michael teleport by any means. They were joking around and potentially picking teleport on their bottom lane and support characters so they could reverse TP to the top lane just to avoid any fights with Michael.
I've never even heard that before.
That would be meta. That would be next level indeed. We don't know if
teleporting bot. Oh, we're out. Let's go top lane instead.
I would be floored to see that type of meta play coming in. But that's almost exactly what they need, because they need to be responsive to this teleport. We said it a few weeks ago, if you could ban out any champion or any ability, it would have to be this teleport play, because Hickman is doing such a great job, not just their A team, but their B team as well, doing such a great job calling out for teleports, making the team fights go in favor for Hickman, and winning out these 3v5, 4v5, 4-man tower dives, 3-man tower dives. They're just so spot on with their rotations, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of that tonight. We'll see if Rockbridge can step up and rise to that challenge.
And you got to also wonder, too, both these teams are, the way it is right now, both these teams have locked in the first and second seed. Whoever wins tonight will be the first seed, meaning they will actually take on Hickman's B roster, as after that win just a couple of minutes ago, they have locked in their spot as the only B team to be a part of the playoffs of this Ukatsu High School Esports League. So if Hickman wins tonight, they will actually be taking on their B team roster, their sister team, in the first round of playoffs to decide who goes to the finals. So there's a very good chance, actually, that both of these rosters, who haven't lost to either of the teams they'll be playing, will actually make it to the finals.
Yeah,
so
could
this
make
is kind
for
of
a very exciting a team against themselves in this case. Ben Bruce, the coach, would have to be counter-picking and picking his own champions and bands at the same time. It'll be one big, fantastic, fun headache for him. But at the same time, though, the scenario of potentially Rockbridge versus Hickman B team is very enticing to me personally. I would love to see, because we haven't seen any B team, A team crossover matches just yet. But with the playoffs coming up not too far in the distant future, seeing what Hickman B team can do, especially tonight, after seeing those types of rotations, those types of picks, I'd like to see what kind of matchup they would play against Rockbridge.
Yeah, either way, though, this could potentially be the preview of what the finals will look like on May 16th at Hickman Auditorium.
That's right.
So it's pretty exciting. We're actually jumping into picks and bans right now. And now that we know they've locked it in due to Pro Draft, you can actually say this. Actually heard some talk from Ben Bruce before this game that potentially, for them, they understand, they know where they're at, and they're very confident they're going to make it to the finals. So they actually might be testing some new things out tonight in this game. He said doesn't really matter whether or not they win or lose. They might actually just be giving Rockbridge the picks they want tonight. So that's kind of a statement being said. They're just like, hey, we're going to give you these picks. We're going to see if we can beat you on the picks that you feel comfortable on. And we're going to see you in the finals either way, and that's kind of the mentality that Ben Bruce was putting into his 8-team rosters is we're going to give you exactly what you want.
That's some bold statements coming out from Hickman's squad, though I would say they would put an asterisk on those bans because they did ban Swain, which is a champion you really don't want to play against right now. Meanwhile, if we take a look at the actual picks, Poppy coming in from the top lane Rockbridge squad. Very great. I would say a very
especially with the
stable
new
champion.
buffs they gave to her actually just this morning in the 8.9 patch when she uses her ultimate ability that knocks people up in the air. Before she was untargetable. Now you are able to target the people she knocks up. So that's pretty exciting to see. Seeing the Kane and the Poppy coming out for Rockbridge, like you just said, kind of comfortable picks. And actually, maybe not new things coming out from Hickman, but this is the pick specifically we wanted to talk about. He mentioned before that they knew Rockbridge High School was going to pick Twisted Fate for Kill XL. Oh, and he didn't pick it. But he actually didn't pick it. Not falling for the bait, maybe. Twisted Fate was a champion that Justin Jang, the mid laner for Rockbridge High School, had played so much. He practiced so much in the last couple of weeks, and it was almost certain that he was going to pick it tonight.
And instead picks a Diana into a Lux, which is a very comfortable pick for for Hickman High School's mid lane squad. Left side of this screen seems very, very scary. As we saw in the highlights again, Fiora 4 versus 1. How has been clean with these sniper picks in the overall in the entire season. But for Rockbridge's squad, I would love to see this Vayne pick if it is selected. Poppy, I think, is a fantastic pick. I'm curious to see what kind of build Jeffrey Mullen, a.k.a. Galaxy Fox, goes with this Kane pick as well. We've always wanted an assassin jungler. Maybe we'll see something like that tonight, but who's to say?
Interesting, though, the Kaisa coming out after her recent nerfs. That's a very interesting pickup for XSim, actually. Although he picked Lucian before when he was actually the worst AD carry at the time. So we'll see how he does on this pick and stay. What's most interesting, though, from Rockbridge, who is on the right side, by the way, the red side, they are technically the away team. There are actually 4 support bans taken away from Renee Tellman, Cookie, the support for Hickman High School. That's who they're targeting. They take away the 1 trick away from Dark Quacker in the top lane, but then 4 support bans taken away from Renee. That's also a statement. I think that's traditionally actually how Rockbridge wins their games. They win their games through their bottom lane, through Michael, XSim, Zoo, through Sean Yu, Owl Time. That's traditionally how Rockbridge has won all of their games. And so this time they're trying to gimp. They're trying to really hurt the support for Hickman High School and try to get an advantage down there in that bot lane.
We'll say over the course of the season, though, trying to ban out the Hickman support player Renee Tellman, a.k.a. Cookie, is very difficult to do.
We've done the same thing in scrims as well. Just throw all your bans at the support. But
there will always be at least one healer caster type of AP champion that Renee can play. In this case, it will be Sona tonight.
Haven't seen that pick yet.
Yeah, on the other side of the team, Sean Yu, Owl Time, picks his favorite champion, Janna. Very strong pick. And if we take a look at the champion pool from Hickman's side, these are all very comfortable picks. Last week we saw Gosu Bot, a.k.a. Matthew Perkins. He was very competent on
that
Xayah. Proved that he can play an aggressive Xayah and does not need a champion like Kaisa to make fantastic plays all across the map. We identified last week that they were able to roam all the way from the bottom lane to the top lane to find these outmatches, 3 versus 5 scenarios. So it's something that together in conjunction with the range that her delivery on Lux Ultimates can bring, How can easily synergize with the rest of this team comp.
Yeah, take a step back for a moment again. This match is so huge and so important for both of these teams. It essentially decides, again, except for this is kind of the preview for what the finals will look like. And again, I'm actually more surprised, maybe we got debated ourselves by the coaches, that there are not really too many interesting picks coming out, not too many experimental picks, very comfortable champions. I think both Hickman and Rockbridge are trying their hardest to win tonight. Again, both of these rosters are tied with a 6-1 record. Tonight will decide who actually is better in this. I guess if you're taking account of what a best of 3 would look like, that we'll see in the finals, this is the conclusion of the best of 3 of both teams. Currently both sitting at 1-1. Who's going to take all the marbles tonight?
Absolutely, and I was very puzzled to see why Justin Zhang, a.k.a. Kill XL, did not decide to go with Twisted Fate. He has been playing that champion non-stop in solo queue with almost 26 games and over a 60% win rate.
It was banned away, so it might have been banned away early. Yeah,
was it banned away early?
In the pro draft. So in the pro draft, it wasn't quite in that order, but it could have been banned away early enough that they just didn't give it to him. Again, surprising enough, because just before this game started, Coach Ben Bruce did say, we'll give it to him. We're going to go for it. So I guess that maybe his team didn't feel as comfortable playing into it. So
some last-minute fears coming in from Hickman High School, but we're all readied up for a fantastic game. I'm very curious to see how Diana will play out in these team fights. We know that she is a hard engaged type of champion with her ultimate abilities after landing a Q, but there's so much disengaged pillars and so much skirmishing that's going to happen from Dark Quacker that you might second guess this pick. Obviously, if you were to ultimate into Xayah, she can easily disengage from that entire sequence just with one button press.
So again, obviously a lot of really fun team fighting plays. I like the double teleport coming out. The mid laner and the top laner for Rockbridge have the summoner spell called Teleport. It allows them to kind of essentially teleport to one side of the map if there's a ward or a minion for them to go to. And that's probably at first their initial response to the roams from the mid lane, the ganks from Uncle Angel, Bozen, Ren, and of course the teleports from Michael Zhao in the top lane. But again, we're about to jump into game. It's the 3-minute delay is over. We're loading in right now. They've already been playing for the last 3 minutes. I haven't heard any crazy shout-outs, so maybe no invade, but we're going to find out and see. Again, on the left side, the blue side, the home team for tonight is Hickman High School. We have the principal of Hickman High School also here tonight, Mr. Grignani. Again, he shoutcasted the games during the exhibition season, and it's crazy. He's the principal.
Job, yes.
He's the principal of the entire high school.
One of the reasons why Columbia Public Schools has been so progressive about this whole esports movement, way beyond any other program in the nation. As we jump into our last game of tonight, Game 2, Rockbridge versus Hickman High School. These are the varsity teams here tonight trying to play for the #1 spot. They are currently tied in the league for #1, so we'll see what happens tonight. Will we see another 4 versus 1 scenario, do you think?
Yeah, the last time he played Fiora was against Rockbridge. So, again, Dark Quacker playing this pick again. We're seeing him in the top lane right now, actually. Michael Zhu in the top lane on this Fiora pick. She's kind of more of a fencer, a duelist per se, got a big sword, and more of a carry-oriented champion. And that's kind of what you want to see Dark Quacker on, a Diamond 1 top laner, one of the best in the world. Best in North America. I should take a step back.
Yes.
Best in North America. Potentially best in the world. We haven't seen him stack up on the international stage. Maybe someday we will. But that is Dark Quacker on the Fiora pick. In the jungle position, of course, we have Bozen, Ren, Uncle Angel. Had so much fun watching this kid. He's very exciting to talk to. Just a very happy, outgoing kid in general. If you guys didn't know already either, he is a Chinese foreign exchange student as well. So coming in here,
he's made a lot of friends because of this league.
Yeah, he arguably, he might not have ever made some of these friends if he wasn't a part of this league. He wouldn't have the connection to the community that he's a part of right now if it weren't for this team. And that's so exciting to see, especially with how outgoing and sociable he is.
And I applaud his performance last week as Lee Sin, one of my favorite champions. Very difficult to play.
Yep. Also a... Isn't Hao also a foreign exchange student
I
as
believe
well?
so, yes.
Yes, along with Bozen Ren, we have Hao Huang in the mid lane playing Lux, the light mage lady. Also one of his signature picks, and we're probably going to call out his name a lot because he's a real rock. He's the spine of this team, just dealing consistent damage. He may not make too many flashy plays, but he's always up there for his team, putting out consistent damage. And of course, for the bot lane, we have Michael, Gosubot, Perkins, and Renee Cookie Tellman. On the Zaya, the Feather Lady, we saw him perform so well last week, and Sona, that's kind of harp-playing lady in the support position. Again, like you said, for a caster, a healer, traditionally some of Renee's most comfortable picks.
And rounding out the team for Rockbridge High School, up in the top lane, we have Andrew Apostle, a.k.a. VexU, playing Poppy tonight. Little munchkin wielding a giant hammer, able to disengage any fight she pleases with her ultimate ability. Andrew has done a fantastic job this entire season, but we do have a first blood already in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, X-Sim getting a kill. Michael on to Gosubot. That's first blood going over to Hickman, and we missed it. That's huge, actually, because like we said before at the beginning of this game, that is how Rockbridge has traditionally won their games, through the bottom side of the map. Actually, we'll look at him right now. Michael, X-Sim, Zoo, and Sean Owltime Yu.
Probably one of the most aggressive, deadly bottom lanes in the entire league right now. They were elected to play in the All-Star match not too long ago at the Midwest Campus Clash. They did a fantastic job. They've done a fantastic job this entire season. Obviously, we have our senior jungler, Jeffrey Mullen, a.k.a. Galaxy Fox, doing the classic move of stealing his enemy camps. That's exactly what Jeffrey has been known for this entire season, is roaming into his enemy jungle, stealing whatever camps he can, and being in the face of the enemy jungler, which Bo is actually trying to do the same right now as we speak. Of course, in the mid lane, we have yet another senior for Rockbridge High School, Justin Zhang, playing Diana. His gamertag is Kill XL. Diana is a moon-worshipping champion, warrior champion that uses her abilities to launch herself directly face in as an assassin to her enemy team.
It looks like we had seeing a pause early on in this one. Maybe players, you're faking an injury. Maybe see an injury on the field, calling the timeout.
Keyboard. My mouse doesn't work.
And a little bit of extra time to strategize, so to speak. Players, if we're keeping true to Riot's games policies of what they do professionally,
not supposed
players
to talk
aren't supposed
about
to talk,
the game.
not supposed to talk, not supposed to strategize. So maybe it's not a faked injury. Maybe it's some nerves. Could potentially be some nerves on stage. And there's a lot on the line here. This is a preview of what the finals will likely look like. So. Let's Battle Course play spoiler. We do have multiple members from Battle High School, a lot of members from their A-team roster here tonight, scouting out the competition. They have a big game later on this week on Friday up against Jefferson City.
Yeah, that's what's so cool about the Ukatsu High School Esports League. Being a local community, you can watch your other teams. You can make friends from other schools. You don't see that in any other high school esports league. I can't stress that enough. This is a real youth development program, not just some cash cow on this whole esports movement. You're seeing players make friends, inviting their parents, having their principals watching them. Like, that's something you just don't see in any other program. I cannot stress that. I got a little biased because we're the founders of this company, but it frustrates me so much to see how people may not be taking this as an opportunity for real child development, which is why we're all here tonight as players have already started and unpaused the game. We will see a reflection of this in probably just a minute or two. Let's talk about that first kill, though. XM and Owltime. That would be Michael Zhu and Sean Yu. Again, the most lethal bottom lane. I would say, would you say that even
exactly.
Even
they're
close
very,
to
very aggressive. Because you're playing against them before. That's just their style of play. Jaina, traditionally more of a disengaged kind of support, has a lot of abilities that kind of knocks people back and has shield to defend her AD carry. Early on in that lane, though, actually, when we were highlighting who Renee Tellman and who Matthew Gosubot was, when we were down there, Sona actually had already taken a good chunk of damage, and a lot of that is from the poke coming out from Michael and Owltime being Sean. Traditionally, they're so aggressive, and they did a good job I guess, kind of knocking them down, poking them down, and probably put them in a great position for XM to get forward and get a kill. No flashes were burned, no summoner spells except for exhaust were burned on the side of Rockbridge, whereas the exhaust and the heal were taken away from Hickman's side. So they are definitely at a summoner spell disadvantage when they get back to this lane.
And we'll see just exactly what Michael can do. I should say Michael from Rockbridge can do with that very early lead. We know that the rest of Hickman is very capable on their own right, even without their star player, Michael top lane. For Hickman, last week we saw that he was substituted with Tim Peters, if I'm not mistaken, and they did a fantastic job balancing out this team. That's where Matthew Perkins really stepped it up as Zaya last week, able to deliver lots of damage to the enemy team, and it was almost as if we saw a completely fine and normal Hickman roster last week. So we know for a fact they will be just as capable and even more deadly this week going into the mid and late game.
Yeah, so this morning was actually a recent kind of adjustment for the champion Lux, a player that How is playing right now. You actually like Lux a lot. What exactly were those changes in your opinion? Or what exactly did it do to the champion?
One of her abilities is a circular slowing ability. It's on the E key, and with that, it is harder to land, but it's much easier and more effective to land her other ability, which is a snare. How has been spot on even before these recent changes for Lux, and I'm sure as long as he lands these snares, he's going to do a fantastic job, as always, landing the skill shots. That's really where...
Michael XM picking up another kill onto Renee Tellman, using his W ability to snipe her down. That's 2 kills going over to Michael in the bottom lane. This is a really good start for Rockbridge.
Very good start. And you see Sean just stepping up, delivering a blow, delivering a tornado, denying any sort of farm for Matthew. This is exactly what they need, and even at this point, Bo, who is playing Trundle tonight, he cannot step up and help out in any sort of way. Pressure still comes in.
Yeah, pressure coming out from the bot lane. We actually saw Matthew cancel multiple auto attacks, and that's a 3-0 start for Rockbridge's bot lane.
Huge, absolutely huge. This is exactly the game plan that Rockbridge High School has set forth this entire season, knowing that their bottom lane can carry and adapt to whatever team comp is in the bot lane. They will now try to push down the tower as quickly as possible and perform their rotations with top lane. If they can do that, they may very well be able to stop any sort of snowball coming in from Michael Zhou, playing for Hickman's top side.
Yeah, here we see Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen doing his invade. He actually does get the steal on the Wolves, taking away the resources from Uncle Angel. And he's going to get out clean.
Scot-free. And if you pay attention to the levels, again, by killing monsters, you do earn experience all the way up to level 18. Jeffrey is currently level 5 to Bo's level 3. He has a serious advantage in this jungle matchup with now 39 creep score to Bo's 21.
Yeah. And he really is stealing gold right out of Bo's pockets. Uncle Angel, this is his jungle over here. You can see it on the map, and that's the only way he's able to get resources, able to get experience and get gold. Jeffrey is just stealing that away from him.
Now at this point, he's left to farm up the scuttle camps and tries to find something perhaps in the middle lane, or walks just around it because How does need to recall from this skirmish.
That's not
Justin
a good look.
doing a pretty good job as well for a melee champion into a champion like Lux, who has a ranged casting abilities.
Yeah, we're actually seeing every single lane from Hickman High School other than the top lane, which of course is Michael Zhu, is losing. They are losing actually pretty hard, pretty significantly, over 10 CS down in every single lane. And of course the 3 kills down in the bot lane.
And I'm really loving the pressure coming from Jeffrey and Justin. As you can see, 2 of Rockbridge's players in the bottom side Hickman jungle now trying to steal away the red buff camp. This would be a significant loss for Bo if he does not find a way to smite this. As you can see, the wards covered.
Ooh, he doesn't get the steal either.
Yes.
Galaxy Fox, Jeffrey Mullen, picking that up as well. And also had Justin there to cover for him.
Yeah, all attributed to vision. Again, those totems that grant vision in the jungle or wherever you place them down. They knew that Uncle Angel, Bo, was trying to find something or trying to find his way back into his own camp, but was not able to do so with the backup of Justin Zhang.
Yeah, very good start for Rockbridge High School. And we know that they know what to do with the lead. We've seen them push their advantage multiple times, and coming into this game. Again, when we talk about the past for between the games, Rockbridge and Hickman before, they've traditionally been stops. They've been someone finding advantage and them translating it appropriately. And right now, Rockbridge High School has the advantage all over the map.
And as Jeffrey Mullen continues to farm up his own jungle, at this point, I would say it's almost safer to continue doing exactly what they're doing, stealing away the camps from Bo, keeping him low in experience, keeping him low in gold, and maybe not trying to force anything too crazy.
Yeah, looks like Bo might be trying to give away his blue buff, even though he's not even level 6 yet. Galaxy Fought is level 6, and for you guys who don't know as well, level 6 is the level that champions do unlock their ultimate ability.
So despite being down, Bo is still a very giving jungler in this match here tonight. He knows that giving the blue buff to Hao may be that one trick to getting him to push that lane into roam, perhaps to the bottom lane or the top lane, and to push the swing in the other direction.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of this bot lane of Hickman High School. They're down by over 30 CS. And now, again, for reference, 15 CS, 15 minion kills down here. You see these numbers. That's about equal to 1 kill. So with the bot laner of Rockbridge High School already up by 30, he's up by almost 2 more kills on top of the 2 he already has. That's a significant lead that Rockbridge has on this side of the map. Takes a little bit of damage there, though. A lot of poke coming out from Renee Tellman. She's level 6 right now.
Right now, we're seeing a 3 top lane push coming in from Rockbridge High School, trying to kill this Diamond 1 top laner. Does not get so. Lots of resources spent in trying to get that gank. Flash does get pulled from Michael Zhou, and Hao will push his middle lane with his blue buff. We're going to see if he does roam either bot or top to try to capitalize on the missed gank.
Yeah, that's great job, though, by Rockbridge High School to at least find that pressure on the map. They took 2 members and find a 3v1 in the top lane. Hickman High School wasn't able to respond, so they do force the Summoner spell out of Michael. The Summoner spell being Flash, that is like his short little blink, his short little teleport, and that's a huge tool that he needs to use to escape, and you won't have that later on if they choose to, I guess, elect for another 3-man gank in the near future. So
at the 10-minute mark, we have Rockbridge High School currently in the lead by about 2,500 gold, mostly attributed to the bottom lane. That would be Michael and Sean, as well as Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen, and even from Justin Zhang in the mid lane. We'll see what kind of advantage they can push and hopefully seal this game early with their advantage. That's the name of the game when it comes to winning against Hickman, I would say. You don't want to go into late game Fiora, because Michael can start to do his crazy 3 versus 1, 2 versus 1 tricks that he's so accustomed to doing as a top laner.
Here we see Galaxy Fox, Jeffrey Mullen sitting in the tri-bush on the top side of the map. He knows that Michael does not have vision of it. Dark Quacker does not choose to go for the gank there, though. Might be deciding to go mid lane instead. Actually, we see Justin Zhang ulting onto Hao in the mid lane, chucking about half of his health.
Yeah, at this point of the game, Justin does do quite a bit of damage, so if we see a misstep from Hao, we'll most likely see an elimination in that 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, such a good job by Rockbridge right now, gimping every single lane across the board. Hickman High School, normally the ones that are finding the advantages and taking the initiative, forcing their opponents to respond to them. Right now, they're not in any position to find an advantage. Hao, with the snare there, forced to pop his barrier, will not have that summoner spell.
Just like that, it's that misstep. If you step up a little too close, Diana can, as an assassin role, can pop you very quickly. I love this call from Rockbridge's squad right now, namely Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen, as he couldn't find any gank across the map, but decides, you know what, I'm going to take an objective instead, this time trying to go for the... I'm sorry, my mind is blanking.
The Rift Herald in the top side of the map. The giant crab, one of the neutral objectives. Yeah, when taken, he can now spawn that giant crab in any lane. It'll help them push. Yeah, he got that for free. Again,
that's a great objective to take early.
That's a free objective that he got. And Hickman High School isn't able to do anything in response.
Now, Ben, is this what you expected coming into this matchup tonight?
Yeah, not traditionally. Again, you look at the lanes that Hickman has picked. They're all very comfortable picks. And arguably, none of these lanes should lose as hard as they have. So... again, from a squad that is I guess it comes from as good as Hickman's caliber has kind of shown in the last couple of weeks. This is very uncharacteristic of them, like specifically in the bot lane. Their bot lane's always been very solid, very, very hard to kill at the very least. I know we've laned against them before, and it's just not a lane that you can find kills on. And putting GosuBot this far behind early on will mean it's going to be a 20, 30-minute mark before they're going to be able to maybe find an advantage, unless Rockbridge makes a mistake.
Perhaps giving the Janna pick to Sean Yu, the support of Rockbridge High School, was not the best decision to make. But again, we do know that Hickman is kind of going a little off. They're actually, at this point, though, most of the picks are pretty comfortable for them. But they may be playing around a little differently in terms of prioritizing lanes here.
Jeffrey once again stealing even more camps away from the jungle position of Bo. And again, if jungle creeps, the creep score of junglers, it means so much more than in the lane. Each camp only gives you so many. So when you're up by 20 CS, 30 CS, that Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen is, he's significantly ahead of Bows and Red Uncle Angel.
He's doing a fantastic job, not just clearing his enemy jungler's camp, but his as well. Very efficient jungle clearing.
Yep. It looked a second ago, we saw Rome coming down from Dark Quacker in the top lane, maybe trying to find a 3-man gank on Justin Zhang, KillXL in the mid lane. Didn't actually go off. And right now, though, this is actually a good position for Hickman to be in. Rockbridge isn't doing the best of job pushing that advantage. We said before, traditionally, Rockbridge likes to take down this first tower in the bot side of the map. They like to take it down and then rotate. It hasn't quite gone down yet, so other than those first 3 kills they got early on, they haven't really found any more. So it might have just been missteps by the bot lane of Hickman, and it's good for Hickman. It's good for them to kind of stall it out, get gold back in their pockets, get some items, and maybe able to win some fights in the future. Root coming out from Hao in the mid lane, instant flash when Justin Zhang jumps on top of him. Right now it's a 2v3 bot lane of Rockbridge has roamed up, but Cookie finds a kill onto Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen. KillXL has been slowed by the exhaust. They're trying to find a pick on him, but Michael XM has joined the fight. It has separated just a little bit. Multiple members of Rockbridge have split in different directions. They just choose to disengage. Hickman High School not able to find any more kills, but they do pick up 1 kill. Unfortunately, it does go over to the support, so not really where you want the gold to go, but Hickman able to respond. And
certainly better than nothing in this case. Finally punishing the aggression coming from Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen, who is playing Kane tonight. Luckily, in that scenario, we did not have teleport available for Michael Zhou in the top lane to see any sort of outnumbered matchups in that team fight. That would have been very scary. Still really loving this Poppy pick from Andrew Apostle up in the top lane. He can, at any point, if he catches a teleport coming from Michael, stop that with his own abilities using his hard CC.
Yeah, 3,000 gold in favor of Rockbridge. No objectives other than the Rift Herald taken. Actually, we just saw it spawn in the mid lane. But the ultimate coming out from Michael XM means they're going to pick up a kill onto Renee Tellman Cookie. Michael, the carry of Rockbridge High School. Again, he's always been very, very solid every single game, even in the game that they lost. That's where you want your goal to be, onto Michael XM.
Absolutely. The crowd coming alive after that kill. There is nearly just as much representation for both sides of this high school matchup. Arguably one of our most packed matches of the season. Loving the enthusiasm shown from both sides because they know this is an important game. I almost wish our documentary filmmakers were here tonight to capture this.
Yeah, Uncle Angel kind of caught out now from the bot lane of Rockbridge, but Justin KillXL fighting his way also into the bot side of the map. Great rotation. Uncle Angel doing his best to stay alive. Justin picks up his first kill of the game. That's a 5-1 kill lead in favor of Rockbridge. Hickman High School unable to find a foothold in this game.
And with that, Rockbridge High School does back out of the situation. They are currently up about almost 6,000 gold in this first 17 minutes of the game. This is probably one of the biggest leads they've ever had against Hickman High School. We'll see if they can continue to capitalize on this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dark Quacker, Michael Zhou in the top lane, not able to find a huge lead, also unable to translate that pressure. He's actually about to get ganked right now. Jeffrey Mullen finding the gank in the top lane. But we saw this a couple weeks ago.
This is just the jungler and the support. Not enough damage without Michael XM there.
We are seeing Justin Zhang also rotating to the top side of the map, trying to turn this into a 3v1 situation. Bo is also trying to find his way up. And when it comes down to team fighting, I'd say both of these teams have demonstrated a lot of proficiency, understanding their roles in these fights. So team fights will likely be a lot of fun to watch tonight. Jeffrey Galaxy Fox
narrowly gets out of that situation. If he was picked, that could have been bad news for Rockbridge, but he does play that pretty well with the blast cone. As Rockbridge High School now applying pressure to the top lane, they have secured bottom lane turret as well as mid lane turret. 2 turrets to 1 in favor of Rockbridge High School. Lots of wards dropping down for Hickman as well, trying to see if any dives are happening up in the top lane as 3 members of Hickman High School posture in to rescue Michael if he does get doped.
So much damage coming out of XM. The other Michael for Rockbridge.
The other
Michael.
In the opposite side of the map, of course, now rotating. Just like what we said, you want to push the lead early, then rotate using Andrew as the stopgap for the bottom lane pressure, keeping Matthew Perkins down there to farm up.
Yeah, very well played by Rockbridge, keeping the pressure up. And that's the most important part. You don't let your foot off the gas. Don't give Hickman any room to get back into this game. That's the point, though, right now, is so many of their members are behind. There's not one other lane other than Michael that has any lead. And so when you talk about when you're trying to contest and you're trying to find fights here, there's no way they'll be able to win a fight unless they have a numbers advantage.
I'm almost positive in that situation not too long ago, Michael could have tried to dive the other Michael in that matchup, but the respect is so apparent in this case. They do not want to misstep at all because giving any sort of kills to the Hickman top laner could spell trouble for Rockbridge in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Dragon objective is up. I do want to make a point of that. So if they cannot get a turret objective, maybe a more smart rotation would be trying to clean up any sort of remaining objectives on the map, such as this Cloud Drake we see right here.
Yeah, Bosun, Ren, Uncle Angel not having a lot of fun tonight, losing yet another buff over in favor of Hickman. They're just living in his jungle tonight.
Just about twice as much creep score from
He can't do anything about
Jeffrey Mullen.
Dark Quacker will go down to Michael XM, and Renee Talon Cookie is left alone top side of this tower. She's also going to go down for free. Rockbridge High School up 7-1 over Hickman.
Jeffrey now diving into the back line, trying to clean up just as many kills as he can after the top turret objective. Lots of careful pings coming out from, I'm assuming, Matthew in the bottom lane. Trying to say, let me farm back up, let me get back in this game as the AD carry.
Yeah.
He has been a very powerful force to be reckoned with in previous games this season. If you give him just a little more time, I'm sure he's going to be a threat not too far from now.
Yeah, just got his first item, while on the other side of the ball, Michael XM has secured his second completed item on top of his level 2 boots. That is such a significant lead over Matthew Perkins. It's going to be rough for Hickman High School if they lose too many more objectives. If they are forced to give away the Baron, per se, or they lose an inhib, this game will be over very soon. What can Hickman do at this point in the game? They aren't able to contest. They don't necessarily even have the wave clear or the disengage to escape from picks like XM from the Justin, the Kill XL on the Diana pick.
Yeah, not much to do other than to try to farm up any remaining jungle monsters as you can.
Ren getting his buff stolen away again. I don't know if he's even gotten a single one of his red buffs this game, except for maybe the first one he started with. So many call-outs coming out from Rockbridge. They seem very excited from their stations.
See exactly what transpired 3 minutes from now, thanks to our spectators' delay at Riot Games. Meanwhile, Rockbridge High School pushing into the enemy jungle, trying to clear out any wards, deny any vision from Hickman, as Michael, the top laner for Hickman High School, tries to apply as much solo queue pressure as he can, soaking up, now in this case, the jungler and the top laner's aggro.
Yeah, this game isn't quite over yet, but Rockbridge, 3 turrets, 6 kills in the lead. They're already up by over 8,000, or about 8,000 gold. It's just so much pressure coming out of Rockbridge. All their members are so strong, and wasn't necessarily maybe a draft thing, but they just found their advantages solo in the lanes that they needed to.
One small early misstep from the bottom lane can lead to something like this, as well as the tendency of Jeffrey Mullen to be a very aggressive style jungler, Kane being a very good pick for him.
Yeah, if we had to say one person who was hurt most in this game, I'd almost argue it wasn't quite the bot lane, but maybe Uncle Angel Bo, who instead was just put so far behind, losing his camps. At least Matthew Ghostbell was able to farm up on the other side of the map when they decided to lane swap, but Uncle Angel unable to farm any of his camps this entire game. Literally right now, Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen has double the creeps, double the farm of Uncle Angel.
Even without any kills, he is so far ahead of his rival jungler that right now you see he's just living comfortably in Hickman's jungle, denying vision that much more. Currently with a 37 vision score, one of the highest, even compared to, or not the support, of course, but the Hickman squad.
Yeah, and it's a very good job by all these roles right now. We start thinking about, we're taking the first and second team, the kind of awards you want to give out for the esports players of this league. And you're looking at some of these matchups here. All of Rockbridge's members do make a very good case of being the best in their roles across the season. Looks like right now, maybe trying to find a collapse, find some sort of kill on the board. Diana alone. Justin Zhang on this side of the map. We see Hao coming from the mid lane, maybe trying to find a flank. She is caught out on a ward, though. And now on the top side of the map, though, it is Dark Quacker, Michael Zhu, who is alone, isolated. Where the members of Rockbridge have elected to instead go for the Baron for free.
Let's see what kind of rotations come in from Hickman High School as Michael does check out the Baron pit and tries to get out of the situation. Fantastic stun coming from Andrew Apostle.
Coming out of Andrew.
Giving them that much more of a lead. They now have pressure on this Baron. Cookie does have to flash and ultimate away from this situation, trying to peel herself away.
Yeah, mistakes coming out of Hickman High School.
Michael landed one of those abilities, too, going in. And there seems to be a team fight in the middle lane.
Yeah, Uncle Angel going down the jungler of Hickman High School. With that pick, it seems like Baron is a clear objective for Rockbridge to take. Up now almost by 10,000 gold. This Baron objective might secure the end of this game for Hickman High School. Again, again, for the most part, Hickman High School probably considered to be the favorite to win this map, not by too much of a margin when you think about Rockbridge and how far they've come. But you think about last game where they had all of their members. Cookie was back. She wasn't there the first time when they did lose to Rockbridge. Cookie is in this game tonight, so they have no roster substitutions. This is a real squad. This is Hickman's real A-team roster right now, and they're getting routed pretty convincingly, 1-9. Only one tower taken off the board.
And you can clearly see the pride coming from Coach Cobb of Rockbridge High School. He has been working very hard to train up this squad to be more of a team-oriented organization, and certainly that's what we're seeing tonight. Very clear rotations coming in from Rockbridge High School, trying to find the right advantages, roaming into the enemy jungler and backing up Jeffrey when he needs help. All around, just great macro play.
Yeah. And that's the thing to say as well. It's just, I actually kind of forgot. But there's not much they can do right now. Honestly, just so much pressure.
Dragon objective coming up in about 45 seconds from now. We'll see who makes the play towards that objective, as Uncle Angel still giving up some creep as he tries to run away from Andrew, who is pelting him with his hammer.
And for those of you guys at home, actually, one of the biggest differences between these two teams right now is how vocal they are. The winning squad, Rockbridge High School, we could audibly hear them, audibly hear their call-outs, audibly hear kind of their shouts of excitement from some of the picks and plays they've had. Where on the other side, you look over at Hickman, and they're silent. They're completely focused. And you got to hope they aren't demoralized yet.
Matthew Perkins does go down up in the top lane, and Jeffrey does find his way out of a sticky situation as Rockbridge High School now still with the Baron buff, taking down the second-tier top lane turret as they knock down on the inhibitor, their first inhibitor of the game potentially. Yeah. All without Michael, who is in the bottom lane now, finally recalling to come meet this very scary team fight. Down 10 kills 27 minutes into the match.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that might be the end of the game there. They still had Baron buff. 2 members were down at Hickman High School. They're spawning right now. Rockbridge play it safe, though. They're backing off. They're going to reset. They got the objective they wanted. They have the inhibitor. The structure right here, when destroyed, will start spawning super minions on their side of the map. You can see them right here. Much stronger than your traditional minion. It's going to force members of Hickman to respond to that lane. Rockbridge doing such an excellent job with their rotations, making the appropriate plays when necessary, not making any mistakes.
Now, only 1 death coming from Rockbridge's squad as they now approach their 2nd Drake of the match.
And this will mean a lot. We won't see if Rockbridge wins here, we will not see a Hickman A versus Hickman B match in the playoffs. Rockbridge does secure a dragon. That means Rockbridge will have to take on Hickman's B squad in the playoffs. That'll also be a very interesting game to watch.
Perhaps not as close as I had originally hoped for. Now seeing how fantastic of a macro and micro play Rockbridge has right now. Michael XM proving that despite the Kaisa nerfs, still a very, very big threat on the team.
Uncle Angel taking a fair amount of damage, walking up, trying to disengage. No one goes down yet, though. Again, Michael Dark Quacker has not been in any of these fights yet. Someone will have to respond to the top side of the map. We see How doing it now, seeing all these super minions. Instead, Rockbridge is opting to rotate to the bot side. They pick up another tower for free, taking everything on this side of the map. Dark Quacker actually is isolated, is alone, doing his best to escape.
Does get out of that situation. Will recall to join up with his team. Again, that's the key factor as to why we haven't seen anything too crazy. We knew that bot lane did lose quite handedly in the first few minutes of the match, but we didn't see any sort of threatening teleports coming in from Michael from top side. That's usually what swings the momentum in favor for Hickman High School, not something that happened tonight in this matchup. Also one of the reasons why I'm really favored towards these best-of-1 matches. Everything is on the line all in these few minutes that we have here. There's no best-of-3, just like the NALCS, also playing in a best-of-1 on a weekly basis. Very exciting. Because now we have a completely different type of projection for playoffs.
Yeah, this is very unexpected. And not unexpected in the sense that Rockbridge were too far of an underdog in coming winning this game. It's just how handedly, how efficiently they're just dissecting this Hickman squad. It looks like they're a tier above Hickman right now. They're making Hickman look like a second-class team, honestly, with the rotations and just how easily they've routed their lanes. There weren't any crazy rotations, any crazy 4-man dives. They single-handedly just destroyed their lane opponents.
And of course, it is up to Hickman to slow the game down as much as possible because they do still have a pretty threatening late-game team composition, especially with Dark Quacker playing Fiora. We'll see just exactly how they go about this because the game is still on. Even live here, we can see the 3-minute spectators delay. Game's still going on. No win, no victors quite yet.
Yeah. What's most exciting, though, is that this will likely light a fire under Hickman's roster, under all of them. We saw how passionate they were about the rematch against Rockbridge come week 5.
Yes.
And when they're coming to enter a best-of-3 situation, if Hickman is able to make it to the finals, and of course Rockbridge makes it to the finals come the playoffs, that'll be a very exciting best-of-3 match, no matter which team wins tonight.
Again, I think a key player that I'm waiting to see come online would be How in the middle lane. Still has not died yet, but has not secured any of those very clutch snipes that he has trademarked in this league. As Justin Zhang's character will fall off in damage.
And Dark Quacker going down 1-12 right now. 4 members left of Hickman doing their best to defend what is left of the remnants of their base. Bot inhibitor will go down. Looks like Rockbridge just going to rotate as well for the middle inhibitor, taking every single thing from Hickman.
Could almost be the end of the game if they play their cards right. Justin does have to flash out of that.
There's one of the ultimates you were talking about before coming out of How. Michael will go down. X-Sim. Solo Galaxy Fox. Uncle Angel doing his best to survive. 3 members left of Rockbridge. The top inhibitor will spawn, though, for Hickman. So, wait, all 3 inhibitors are down. It will spawn double super minions in every lane. Almost impossible to defend against. But Hickman, for the first time tonight, is able to repel the onslaught that is Rockbridge High School. But now with 2 inhibitors down, no towers left to defend them. There's nothing stopping Rockbridge from really just walking in and taking that last inhibitor or the Baron.
My guess is they're still playing it very safe, despite that last dive from Rockbridge. They're still respecting the damage output that Hickman can have, especially as we approach the 35-minute mark. Baron objective is up right now. We'll see who contests this very important.
Kaisa is very strong right now. She currently has all 3 of her ability level ups. It's going to be very hard to kill. And she's also going to just deal an insane amount of damage. Opting for a different build, building Essence Reaver first instead of the Death Dance due to the nerfs. And then going straight into the Ginsos, the Nashor's Tooth. Very strong. Rockbridge High School now electing to go for the Baron, their second Baron of the game. With this last objective, they're likely going to push in and hopefully end this game. I want to say hopefully because if they weren't to end this game, Hickman's going to be put in a much better position. Every single minute that goes on in this game or Rockbridge doesn't end it is better for Hickman High School.
Next Drake going up in about 10 seconds from this call mark. Howe still trying to defend his base with what abilities he has. Still deathless in this game, but unable to make any large impact in the team fights other than a few snares here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I do also want to give kudos to Justin Zhang this game because this is probably the first game that I've seen him really make that global pressure impact that a character like Diana should be.
Yeah, he said before, sometimes when he gets on stage, it's just a very different feel, a little bit more pressure, and he's a little bit more scared to make some of those plays.
But he's doing
Doesn't
a
look like it's
fantastic job tonight.
Exactly. Again, they're knocking on the top inhibitor right now. Hickman is unable to defend it, so that's 3 inhibitors going down in favor of Rockbridge. The game is not over yet, though. Last time, Hickman did their best and were able to defend their Nexus towers. Can they do it again? This is as strong of a push as Rockbridge can put together. They have all 3 inhibitors down, Baron buff. Galaxy Fox will take down the support, but GoToBot is still alive. Hal lands an excellent ultimate. There's not a whole lot else that Rockbridge can take once they take down both of these towers. Dark Quacker will secure the kill, though. Only 2 members left of Rockbridge with the 80 carry going down. Poppy doing her best, trying to get the last couple hits on the Nexus, but an excellent defense put up by Hickman High School.
And with just a little health remaining on the Nexus for Hickman, they can only defend as 3 inhibitors are also down, spawning those super minions. Rockbridge currently still far ahead with a 16-8 kill lead and almost, 14,000 in gold despite that ace.
Yeah, the most unfortunate part about that, they finally have gold in their pockets. Hickman High School getting those shutdowns, those much needed shutdowns, kills on all of their carries now. The problem now, though, is they've just lost so many of their objectives, so many of their structures. No Nexus towers left to defend, no inhibitors left to defend. Rockbridge is probably out, just march it down, get the dragon, and then walk down and end this game unless Hickman's able to turn the next team fight. And it's going to be about getting another clean pick onto Michael X-Sim. Luckily enough, they were able to pick him off last time pretty early on.
Right.
Kind of put them in position not to get aced.
Even just a concentrated effort on only the Nexus turret could potentially win this game with how much health it has remaining. They do play it safe. Again, by taking this 3rd Drake, this would be a Mountain Drake that does claim, I guess, just one objective that much faster.
Yeah.
Because Hickman does not have any towers remaining at all.
Yeah, the inhibitors are going back up in the bot and the mid lane here, though, so a little bit of reprieve coming into Hickman. No longer will there be double super minions spawning in every single lane. They're not even trying to defend the middle one, though, going straight down. Rockbridge probably going to play it safe, take the bot inhibitor as well. If there's a time for Hickman to engage, it probably is right now. Ooh, double snare, though, coming out from the Lux. Not going to follow up, though. Hickman High School has to defend their Nexus.
How, with only 2 completed items in this game at the 37-minute mark, does not have the damage to one-shot combo any one of these champions. With their backs against the wall, Hickman is making their last stand right now.
GoToBot finding the pickup onto Owl Time. But unfortunately, XSim is still alive. Andrew VexQ is really low. But Galaxy Fox finding the great pickup onto the AD carry. That's going to be it. The great knockup again by Galaxy Fox. Triple kill going over. The quadra kill going over in favor of XSim. Michael carrying this game 11-2 and 7. They're going for the dive. They're trying to take out Hal as well. Hal will pick up the shutdown and the double kill, but he cannot defend his Nexus. Rockbridge High School takes down Hickman and secures the first seed in the Ukatsu High School Esports League. They will take on Hickman's B Squad in the playoffs in the coming weeks. Hickman High School will fall down to the second seed and will take on Battle.
Fantastic execution tonight from Rockbridge's A roster, making the clean picks up in the early game, especially in the bot lane. Fantastic jungle invasion coming from Jeffrey, Galaxy Fox, Mullen, as well as applying that pressure throughout the rest of the map comes Justin Zhang, who had his breakout game I would say tonight.
Yeah.
This is exactly the type of playstyle we want to see from our mid laners. And for the first time in a long time, we have assassins in our game.
I wasn't sure what I thought about the Kane pick at first. Not traditionally something that Jeffrey has performed well on before. It's not really his style, but very excellent play. Again, it's something that Coach Bruce and Hickman's going to have to take time to reevaluate exactly what went wrong. Traditionally, their players are very, very good in their solo lanes. They don't ever really lose their solo lanes. But this time around, though, or I guess in their lanes in general, but this time around, Rockbridge able to route every single side. Very good early game. Hickman instantly going to go regroup and kind of reanalyze. It looks like their players aren't in ill spirits. On their side, though, Rockbridge very excited.
Absolutely.
Their B team cheering them on from the outside.
It is very exciting to see this live venue truly come alive. We have Rockbridge on our right side celebrating in joy, pulling out a quite slight underdog type of win right here, and instantly all of Hickman's roster rising, B team, A team together outside right now. Coach Ben Bruce talking through what just happened. I love this. The competitiveness is so real in this room. You can feel both the joy and the sadness at the same time, but that's what competition is all about. And this is just one match in week 8 of Ukatsu High School Esports. We still have our district championships coming up, where it's very likely that these two teams will meet one last time this year. Cannot wait for that best of 3 match if it does come down to both Hickman A and Rockbridge A, of course.
With that, though, this is the last game for Wednesday. We'll see you guys again Friday between Battle High School and Jefferson City as they drive all the way down here once again to take each other on. So we have 1 week left after this. Tonight was very exciting, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to our sponsors, Columbia College, Armstrong Teasdale, Veterans United, and Hawthorne Bank. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night.